Meet the Breath Masters. The Breath Source is the only app where you will find the greatest breathwork facilitators from around the world in one place. Our extensive, truly unique database of breathwork videos and live classes created by our Breath Masters offers you the opportunity to learn breathwork with the best teachers in the universe. Dive into our app and become a student today.
Hello, everyone. This is Travis Steffens with the Breath Source, and we're super excited here to welcome Mr. Sachin Patel with the Living Proof Institute. Sachin was trained under Geo. Geo's another breath master that's in the Breath Source, now known as Source. And I've had the privilege to sit underneath Sachin Patel and some of his best breath work, in my opinion. And it was absolutely fantastic at CHS and definitely one of the most connected breathwork practices that I've ever felt. And I really mean that. And trust me, I've done a lot. So I'm honored to be here with Sachin and to have this live with him. So Sachin, welcome to this live and welcome to the family and everything that you've done for us at the Breath Source.
Travis, it's an absolute honor, and I'm so excited for our conversation today. Thank you for being so inclusive and including me as part of this fantastic universe that you've created and bringing the best of what breath has to offer to the world. I'm so grateful.
Oh, it's such a gift, man. So sitting in one of your breathwork practices, it's clear that you're a master. And I know that we had it when we came together the first time. You're like, "Oh, don't call me a master," but I do have to say, man, you have some of the best science-backed knowledge that I've seen. You've trained with James Nestor a ton, who is an icon now with the book Breath Out. And so I really do value your wisdom around not only the science, but the esoteric wisdom and as well your experience. Experience means more to me than anything. So I'd love to hear about your journey to breath and how you came to breath.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first breathwork experience was actually a Wim Hof training that I attended in Toronto. And by the end of it, we were jumping in this kiddie pool in the middle of February. Not what I was expecting, but totally invigorating and exhilarating and fun. So that was my first exposure. And then my second exposure kind of came in a different way that I wasn't expecting. And that was when my son had to have some dental work done. It turns out his upper palate didn't form correctly because he was a habitual mouth breather. And at the time, I didn't know any different, and I wish I had. And that's around the time James Nestor's book came out. So it really became fascinating to me to understand how we breathe affects facial structure and how that affects our respiration as adults, how it affects the way our hard palate forms, the way our teeth form, and how it affects dental health. So it became even more near and dear to me because I realized that I was neglectful in some ways by not knowing this information and influencing my son's facial structure. And from that process, I ended up discovering orthodontists and dentists that were more airway focused. And we corrected those imbalances with my son. He's mouth taping now, he's 13, and he's been mouth taping for the last 4 years. And that's changed his facial structure. He's got a beautiful smile, and he didn't have to have any of his teeth pulled, which is what many other dentists were recommending. And, as a chiropractor, I know that form affects function. And by removing teeth, it would definitely create a permanent change in his facial structure and airways. And so that's when I really started going down the structural rabbit hole associated with breathing. But then also as a functional medicine practitioner, what I realized is that when I went down this rabbit hole, nobody in my profession was really talking about breathing. And what I discovered is that how we breathe sets the upper limit of our metabolic health. And breath is really the steering wheel of our nervous system. And in a world where people's nervous systems are so dysregulated, there's nothing more important that we can focus on than teaching people how to breathe. And so I started incorporating it into my practice, into my trainings that I do for practitioners, and a whole new world opened up for me. And opportunities have become abound since then because very few people are talking about breathing, the science of breathing, the mechanics of breathing, the anatomy of breathing. And so that's what I'm trying to bring a little bit more to the world of. It's my passion and my gift to share this with as many people as I can.
That's awesome, man. and sitting at the table with you many times, just talking about breath work and talking about health in general. I have to let everyone know that Sachin's knowledge and wisdom of the human anatomy, the human body, biology, and how to optimize this physical structure for this lifetime is second to none. Him and his wife are so dedicated to the human experience on this planet. And I'm so proud of you for what you've done. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
So great job with that, man. That's awesome. So it's fun that you trained under Geo, and Geo is also a breath master. Tell us a second about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gio took me through my first Wim Hof training, and him and I instantly became fast friends. It's like we were soulmates in many ways. And then when he took me through the Elemental Rhythm Breathwork Experience a few years later, my first question to him was, "Can you teach me and others how to do this?" And he ended up saying yes a little bit further down the road and started creating his teaching program. And I was part of his first graduating class. And since then, I've incorporated it into the trainings that I do for practitioners, experiences that I try to create online and in person for other people. And what I try to bring is not just the out of body and spiritual experience and enlightenment that people can achieve through breathwork experiences, but I also try to bring the science so that they can understand how to breathe when they're not having these type of out of body experiences. And so Gio and I have partnered in many ways. I've done some training for the Elemental Rhythm Breathwork Experience, bringing some science, bringing some anatomy and physiology to the equation, so that the students who go through that program are also getting, scientifically backed information that they can apply and see the benefits of. And what I love about breath is that it's easy to measure. It's easy to see the impact and the difference. So in healthcare, sometimes when somebody changes their diet, it might take them a few weeks to really see results. When they drink more water, it might take them a few days to see results. But when they change how they breathe, they can see measurable effects of that instantaneously in their body. And so it became a tool that's easy for us to measure, easy for us to implement, and there's nothing for people to buy. And so I'm so indebted to Gio for introducing me to this world of breathing and breath work. And then I've just tried to, I try to take what I learn and make it a little bit better, or dig a little bit deeper. And then my mission has always been to bring this back to not only the public, but to practitioners so that they can implement it into their practices.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. I love it. And you can also find Geo with Elemental Rhythm on the app as well, the Breath Source, or now known as Source. So, Sachin, you've got some really cool things going on with your resources. You have a master class on breathing that you have out there that's absolutely free. And then you have another course called Breathe Like This, Not That. And so let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, certainly. So they say the best things in life are free. So one of the things that I've been doing is, accumulating this knowledge and packaging it up in ways that are easy for people to consume. And so very recently, I did a 2-hour master class on breathing, and it basically is breathing 101, the things that, most people wish they had known, including myself, that nobody has ever taught them, including likely their practitioners. So what I go through in that is I go through some fun facts. Like, for example, we consume more air than anything else in a day. We consume about 30 pounds of air each and every single day. We might only drink a few pounds of water and drink a few pounds of food, but air is something that we exchange more of than anything else. Another fact is that our immune system starts in our nose. So it's our primary and initial defense against the outside world. And so, just when people start learning these things, they're like, oh my God, how come nobody has taught me this? Another fun fact is that our diaphragm is the only muscle in our body that never shuts off. So we can actually consciously control our diaphragm by controlling the depth of our breath and the frequency of our breath. But while we sleep, our diaphragm stays active. It's the master pump. It pumps our lymphatic system. It assists our heart in pumping blood. 40% of our blood pressure actually comes from a healthy functioning diaphragm. It's referred to as the second heart. And what's really interesting is the diaphragm also pumps our myofascial matrix. So our myofascial matrix is this hydraulically driven system in our body that holds all of our structures together. And the matrix is what connects every cell, tissue, organ together in unison. And the matrix also is connected to every single nucleus in every single cell in our body. So the breath is something that is so vitally crucial to driving all three of these systems, our lymphatics, our circulatory system, and our myofascial matrix. And so when we start teaching people how to breathe correctly, so many other systems start functioning better. I always teach people that the breath is the zenith of sophistication and simplicity. Da Vinci said that the greatest sign of sophistication is simplicity. And so if we think about it, there's nothing easier for us to change than our awareness around breathing. And there's nothing more sophisticated than our breath, because we have two nostrils, we have a mouth, we have different depths and different holds that we can do to really elicit a very specific response in our body. And that's why I refer to the breath as the steering wheel of our nervous system. And once people start learning this, what's really cool about it, Travis, is they can start applying it immediately. Like, we can take them through, 2 to 3 minute experiences where they feel an immediate shift in their body, and then they're much more likely to make these changes. So one of the things that I like to focus on that might be a little bit different than what people are used to is I like to focus on how people breathe 99% of the day. A lot of trainings are focused on, short term and short burst experiences. Like Wim Hof is great, for example. But what I focus on also, in addition to that, is how you're breathing when you're not doing that. So, how you're breathing when you're checking email, how you're breathing when you're driving, how you're breathing when you're in a space with other people, how you're breathing while you're sleeping. What that took me down an interesting rabbit hole, which is snoring. So, how we breathe at night actually sets the upper limit of our metabolic healing and restoration. So I started really going down that rabbit hole. And so I like to really focus on how people are breathing 24/7 so that they can optimize their nervous system, they can optimize their lymphatic system, they can optimize their cardiorespiratory system, they can optimize oral health. As some people might know, that the primary cause of cavities is actually mouth breathing. One of the greater stressors on our body is mouth breathing, because we're putting all this dirty air into our bodies that's unfiltered, unpressurized, untemperature and unmoisture regulated. And so when we make these simple changes, there's measurable effects that can take place within minutes, within hours, within days, and within weeks. And it's so amazing to see the impact that it has on people's health, and how simple it can actually be once we help people raise awareness around how they breathe.
Ah, that's beautiful, Sachin. And I love how you said it's the steering wheel of the nervous system, and it truly is. We live in a society now that is so smitten by anxiety and depression and things that come from I mean, everything comes from the nervous system in general,
Mhm.
but breath is the tool for that. And I love that. And I also love, based on what you just said too, that a lot of people say I can't breathe through the nose because it's plugged all the time, or my nose holes are too small. And if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
So we have a lot of people that are not using the nose, so it is closing up and giving them that fallacy that they can't use the nose anymore.
Yeah. What's really interesting, since you bring that up, like, dysfunctional breathing leads to many chronic health conditions. As we all know, that the mouth is the gateway to so many healing opportunities, and we can actually, when we understand that the mouth is the start of the digestive system, preserving oral health becomes vital. When we have dysfunction in the mouth, that also leads to cardiovascular disease. What we're also learning is when there's plaquing in the teeth, that leads to plaquing in the brain. So we're essentially setting the stage with dysfunctional breathing for so many chronic conditions for which there are no, supposedly medical cures, because there's no pill to help you breathe better. You really have to do the work and raise awareness. And as you mentioned, if we don't use it, we lose it. And so over time, if somebody's a habitual mouth breather, then we want to focus on how do we open up that cavity? How do we get them breathing better? And there are certainly nose clearing exercises that people can do, and you can certainly look those up, where you plug your nose for just a few seconds and magically your nose starts to open up. And of course, I understand some people have deviated septums, or they have like significant, anatomical challenges, but those need to be addressed. Joe Rogan, for example, broke his nose so many times that he became a habitual mouth breather until he got the sinuses fixed. And when he took that first breath, he's like, oh my God, I totally forgot what it's like to breathe. So yes, when we use our nose more, the body naturally starts opening up that cavity. And one of the other things that people can do is they can use specific oils. For example, I use something called Nasya oil, which is an Ayurvedic formula. You put that in your nose and that helps purify your sinuses. People can use a Navaj. A Navaj is basically like a neti pot on steroids. So it also helps to cleanse the sinuses. People can also use certain rinses, like with a neti pot with salt, to help open up and clear out the sinuses. And then, of course, we can use breathing tools to enhance breathing, such as nose strips or an intake, as an example. But here's what's interesting, Travis, is that most people over breathe. So if you have a hard time taking a deep breath in and a fast breath in through your nose, consider it almost as a gift, because one of the first things we have people do, just like if metabolically we want them to eat less food, what's been shown over and over again is that the less we breathe, the longer we live. So if you look at a turtle, for example, a turtle takes about 4 breaths per minute and lives for a couple hundred years. A dog takes about 35 breaths per minute and ages 7 times faster than a human does. So if we can slow down our breathing, then we can actually enhance longevity and reduce oxidative stress on the body, increase CO2 tolerance, and make our nervous systems overall more resilient to, quote unquote, death.
I love it. It's amazing, man. So much science, we could keep going forever, but um, I don't want to put you on the spot, but in all of these, we like to see if anybody wants to lead a short breathwork session at the end. Would you be up for that for just a few minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And before we dive into that breath session, guys, becomeproof.com. Becomeproof.com is where Sachin has all of his free programs and then also availability to hire him as a health expert. So, Sachin, thank you for being on with us live. And let's get going on your breath session and close out.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for clarity, Travis, Breathwork with Sachin
Oh, that's
is
right.
is where they can get all the free breathing tools. They can get the master class. I'm happy to share the slides with them. They can get a breathwork experience. I've got that guide, Breathe Like This, Not That, so they can learn how to breathe in different scenarios and situations throughout the day. So yeah, they're more than welcome to grab a copy of all of those resources, and they're all free available for them at breathworkwithsachin.com.
There you go. Breathworkwithsachin.com. And then if you want to hire him as a professional in the health world, you'll go to becomeproof.com. Awesome. All
Awesome.
right.
Thank you. So let's start with this. I think one of the best tools that I could offer people is something that they can take with them and start applying, in their day immediately. So even if you're watching this, what I like to share is something called coherence breathing. And this is how we should be breathing literally 99% of the day. And this is our baseline breath that we want to come back to. So coherence breathing helps increase oxygenation of our brain. It helps relax our nervous system. And the other thing that it does is it helps us feel more calm and centered. So what I like to do is I'll coach people through this. It's really simple and it's almost embarrassingly simple, but it's actually one of the most powerful ways for us to breathe. So first things first is we always want to focus on tongue positioning. Our tongue should be at the roof of our mouth. When the tongue is at the roof of the mouth, it's going to hit these nerve endings of the vagus nerve, which almost instantly helps us feel relaxed and calm. Once that happens, then I'm going to invite people to just sit up nice and comfortably, drop their shoulders and just relax. And you can keep your eyes open or closed when you're doing this. This is a breath you can do when you're watching TV, when you're reading a book, when you're checking email, when you're driving the kids to school. And one other thing I want to say is that the thing with breathing is raising awareness around it. So we have motivation. We all know the benefits of breathing, or at least we have a better idea of them. And from the other masters, you'll learn that too. The second is ability. So we all have the ability to breathe better and with more awareness. And the third thing is a prompt. So what I encourage people to do is find a prompt, which is something they do often throughout their day. So maybe every time I check my email, every time I think of my phone, every time I think of my kids, I'm going to connect that to my breath. So then the second thing I think about is my breath. And so the check-in that we want to do is also very crucial and important. So I just wanted to highlight those three things. So when we're doing coherence breathing, it's really simple. Tongue gently placed at the roof of the mouth, which means our jaw is going to be nice and relaxed. And we're going to sit up in a comfortable position for ourselves. And we're going to breathe in for a count of 6 and breathe out for a count of 6 with our nose. So we're going to exclusively breathe in and out through our nose, and we're breathing in about 10% of what our full breathing capacity is. So the key with breathing is to breathe slow and to breathe less, which sounds paradoxical. Most people think they need to breathe a lot to get the benefits of breathing, and there's a time and place for that. However, the majority of the day, you want to breathe slow and calm. The person sitting next to you shouldn't even know you're breathing. And when we breathe in this pattern, the other thing that's interesting, Travis, is that it calms our nervous system down. Our energetic signature is nice and calm as well. And so when somebody's sitting next to us, because our nervous system is in a state of safety, they feel safe as well. So let's practice this. It's super simple. You can place your tongue at the roof of the mouth, and then you're gonna close or open your eyes, whatever is most comfortable for you, depending on where you're watching this. And we're just gonna breathe in for a count of 6. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you maintain that pattern. Now, here's a hack for everybody. If they're unsure and they're probably wondering, how do I maintain that breath throughout the day? Well, one of the ways they can do that is by getting something called an oxa band. And an oxa band is a breath band that goes around your abdominal area just below your rib cage. And you can literally watch yourself breathing. And I have my phone set up right next to me. There you have your band there as well. I have my band set up. I have my phone sitting next to me on my desk, and I have the app open so I can see in real time what's my respiratory rate. And then I can augment my breath to decide how I want to feel. So if I want to be in a calm, relaxed state, and I want to exude that to the person that I'm speaking to, then I know exactly what to do. I also take this band with me when I drop my son off at work, and it takes me an hour to drop him off and come back home. So I get an hour of coherence breathing in to set the tone of my nervous system for the rest of the day. And this is also a great breathing technique that you can use as your baseline. So even when I'm working out, I might push myself and I might go in through the nose, out through the mouth. As I'm exerting myself and I'm going in an all-out sprint, I'm going to go in and out through my mouth, but I'm always trying to gear down and come back to coherence breathing. When we're coherence breathing with the 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, for some people it might be 5, some people it might be 7, whatever is comfortable for you. But when we're in that state of breathing, we are better oxygenating our brain, we're better focused, we're more present, our nervous system is more relaxed and in a state of congruence with the activity that we're trying to accomplish. And guess what? People feel safe and secure around us. And so their nervous systems start to relax as well. So there's a technique for all of you that you can implement. Again, it's so simple, so don't let the simplicity fool you. It's one of the most powerful techniques that's out there.
It is. And it's proven in 25 years of science with the Heart Math Institute. So, Sachin, thank you so much for giving your time to us and investing into all of us in this planet. I want to send you all the light and love as the Breath Source, now known as the Source family. We love and appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for what you're doing for the planet.
Thank you, Travis. So much love. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for spearheading, the source and making it available to the world. It needs it now more than ever. So I'm so grateful our paths have crossed, and we'll continue to entangle with each other and make the world a better place through breath.
Yes. Thank you, my brother. All the love.
Much love.
Bye.